Oh my god. Can you hear yourself? Okay. Hurrah! Here we go. Can you hear yourself now? Now?
Nope.
Chris, can you hear Joe? Joe, please start roasting me.
Okay. Hi, I'm roasting May right now because I like to roast my friends, apparently. Seems to be a notable thing of mine. Also, the reaction stuff is so cool. I just email saying that you went live.
Alright, so that should be working. Oh my god, crunchy glass movement. Uh, supposed to have this going. How is the music volume?
Uh,
Music volume's good? Teeny bit too loud? Okay, let me know when it hits the sweet spot. I think that might be the sweet spot.
Have you got it?
I don't need to hear the music. I just need you guys to hear that right there. Sweet.
Thank you, Chris.
Perfect. Hi Diablo Saw, thank you so much for letting me know. Osmanart, thank you so much for the follow. And here we go. Oh my god, there's so many people.
Totally not from me, just like shamelessly plugging this to everyone.
Alright, hello everybody. Welcome to the very first and scuffed episode of From the Perspective of Blank. This is a potentially weekly / monthly thing that I'll be doing in between my usual art streams. I invite people who are doing art and stuff over and we talk. It's definitely not a podcast. Oh hey, the podcast is here. Hey, Sid Treefish, shut up. It's most definitely not a podcast.
It's definitely a podcast. No, this is absolutely a podcast.
Okay, for those who don't know who I am, my name is Pen Pen. I draw on the odd occasion. I stream once in a blue moon, even though I keep saying I'll get my shit together one day. I've yet to do so. I'm very, very busy with my other real life stuff, and I regret. I regret so much. Joining
the existential crisis.
Existential crisis, indeed. Joining me today is a lovely JK Draws. Who
Hello.
is yeah. Diablo Saw, thank you so much for the follow. So, please, to those who don't know or have not seen JK Draws, JK stuff, go for it. You don't mind if I call you by your actual name or just your internet handle?
You can just call me by like my usual name. It doesn't really worry me.
Okay. Alright, so Joe and I actually know each other in real life. We've met several times, and each time is more disappointing than the last in that I cannot perform and live up to expectations, but she still loves me.
You're still my office wife.
Oh, for sure.
In every.
Alright, so we're just gonna... Sorry?
Can I just mention a little bit about me?
Just a quick one last question to chat. How is the volume going with you guys? Am I too loud? Do I need to mute myself? Is Joe too quiet? Does she need to up the volume? Do I need to up her volume? Music is
Do I just
that...
need
You just muted me, excuse me?
just need to mute?
Joking, maybe go up a little? Sweet. I can probably finagle something. 200%, let's see.
Oh, would you like me to test? This is me testing. Hello. 1, 2, 3. I love that the delayed silence.
Alright. Okay, so from my end, the volume's pretty good. That's good? That's good. Okay, so let's I've introduced myself. I don't have multiple me's. I introduced myself and I've introduced Jay. Joe's connection goes a little fuzzy occasionally. Yes, that's not a me problem, unfortunately.
That's absolutely a me problem. I guess I can try other means. If I maybe try and put my mic up a bit more with the sensitivity or whatever, but I don't know if that's gonna work.
All good. The parts where I did not hear you, I will carry on and pretend that I did hear you, and we'll never address that ever again.
Yeah. Alright, that sounds good.
That's just how I work in a workplace. No one's called me out on it yet. If you keep them talking, it tends to hold okay enough. Alright! No stopping. No breaks for you.
Just my usual, like, never shut up personality.
Alright, so let's get started. So Joe, hi, hello, how are you?
Hello. Oh, I'm wonderful, thanks. And yourself?
I'm less than wonderful only because I am in your presence. You tend to overwhelm me.
Oh, okay. I can take my leave in like half an hour if I'm too overwhelming.
No, this is a good thing.
Oh, good. Okay, I'll take that as a positive note.
Yeah, you should. Hello, Angie. Thank you so much for joining through.
Hello.
Yeah, so let's start with the first and foremost question. How did you get into the visual effects industry? And more or less, you are a visual effects lighting TD junior.
Yeah, junior. I've been in the industry about 3 years now, I want to say. Has it been that long? Jeez, that's gone so quick. Yeah, I've been in the industry about 3 years. Sort of fell into my job, really. I wasn't planning to go into lighting at all. I wanted to be an animator originally, so I was striving for that. And then I kind of just stumbled into lighting, if that makes sense. How I got into it, I guess you're asking like where my interest came from,
Yeah,
and all that fun stuff.
yeah, pretty much.
Well, like I've always had a really big interest in how films are made. Like I distinctively remember in my younger years always having to buy a Blu-ray, but it had to have the special features. Always had to have special features because I would watch those more than the actual. So I know how the whole movie was made, but I wouldn't know the movie at all. Just be like, this is how they made that scene and that scene. So yeah, all my long car rides on trips, and when I was bored at home, I would just be watching how films were made. And that was just an interest I always sort of had. And yeah, so then a cousin of mine was studying animation, and we were visiting her for a holiday. And I basically just stayed with her for a day, and I was like, I can actually study this stuff. And that was really cool. Yeah, and then I just sort of never looked back. I kind of, I think, I guess when I was about 12, 13, I knew I wanted to be in movies of some sort, or doing something with movies, because that was a general interest of mine.
Yeah. Just gonna quickly pause there. Chibi Cat, Chi came in with a raid. Thank you so much for the raid. Hi everyone, welcome.
There's so many people now.
There's so many
Oh,
people
boy.
now. Hello, welcome. Just gonna go through quick introductions very quickly again. Hi, I'm Pen. You probably remember me from my drive-by subbies on cheese streams and on the occasional drawing. I'm an artist. I draw. I stream on the odd blue moon. I am joined by the wonderful Joe from JK Draws, and we're doing a very first episode of From the Perspective of Blank, where I interview and chat with several people in either the art industry, visual effects industry, or wherever, they are. And we just talk. And we've just gotten through on how Joe got into the industry. And I pretty much had the same thought when I first started. I originally wanted to be an animator, and then that turned into wanting to be a character art, like concept artist. And then next thing you know, here I am working in lighting. Sharp turn.
Yeah, I guess I kind of had the same sort of setup.
You've cut out there.
Oh, sorry. Sometimes. I kind of had the same. I pursued animation for a good maybe 8 years, and then within 3 months, it did a sharp turn. I didn't.
Yeah, your microphone's quite spotty there. Sorry.
Give me a moment. Let me see.
Technical difficulties.
Technical difficulties? What do you mean?
What do you mean there's technical difficulties? This is a feature, not a bug.
If I turn this on, does that change anything?
You're coming through fine, but we'll see how it goes later on.
Yeah, we'll see. I can still see myself lighting up, so
Yeah. So
that does not sound very reassuring.
We'll see how we go. All right, so we both went to the same college, although in different locations. Funny that, and I believe we went in the same years as well.
Yeah, 2016 to 2018?
Yeah, that's pretty much the same for me. How much effort did you end up putting in your first, in your, I guess, entire time and in college? And would you reckon people who want to join into the industry would need to put in the same effort? Do you think the effort you put in correlates to how much effort it really takes to get started?
That's a really interesting question, because I distinctively remember in my interview to get into this college, I was told to put in 5 days a week, and that was including the actual course days. So I was in 2.5 days a week, and then I would go in the other 2.5 days as well and just do work on the side. But that was also when I was studying animation and wanted to be an animator, which I think is really important for that side of the industry. And I guess I definitely think you should try and put in more than the allocated hours, because there's so much to learn in this industry, and people that tend to go in on their spare time, you kind of show how passionate you are about it. It's a thing where it's, how do I explain it? You can show passion, but if you also don't live and breathe it, you probably might not find it as interesting as us. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I suppose at the end of the day, you make do with what you've got, and basically, my personal opinion is that it doesn't really matter which college you go to. It's what you do with the information you're being taught afterwards. Because
absolutely.
bad teachers are everywhere, but so are good teachers, but fantastic teachers are the ones who are already in the industry, like your seniors, your leads.
Yeah, I think that's so important. And I think the other thing is like when you're given all these resources that you can also get access to out of hours, and they're allowing you those access, you should take advantage of it as much as you can.
Mm.
Because when you leave those colleges, some of those programs don't really have a free version unless you pirate it.
Oh yeah.
So it's a bit of an illegal way to learn, and you don't really feel as nice looking into it and stuff like that. So I think taking advantage of the programs that your courses can give you is a really good thing. So going in on your spare time is a good practice to get into.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I suppose like even if you can't go in for all those 5 days from like Monday to Friday, I feel like it's how you spend your time as well. So when I on my campus, I didn't go in for all of the days of they recommended. I was told 5 days a week was the go-to if you wanted to study and like really get ahead. I was working two jobs at the time while studying during my final year, which I think we also had our final assessments coming up. So I was doing two jobs, two part-time jobs, and then I was, and whatever I had free, I would rock up to class and stuff. But the free time that I had, I spent in learning concepts and trying to apply it within class. And then I asked, here's important question, like not question, here's important thing though, asking questions. I cannot say how important that is.
Cannot stress enough.
I can't stress
Questions
enough.
are so important.
Yeah, like if you don't ask questions and you just sit there, this is a bad habit I have now. You just sit there and be like, well, it will sort itself out. It won't. You need to ask questions rather than spend like 3 months on a problem. Ask your instructors, ask your bosses, like your managers and stuff like that, and you'll get the problem resolved in 30 minutes.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like a rule that I have is if I can't figure it out in like an hour by myself, I have to ask.
Yeah, yeah, that's a general rule of thumb in every studio I've been in as well.
Yeah. Even still, like when I was helping out the newbies, I was kind of like, if you can't get it sorted out in 20 minutes, just ask me.
Yeah.
Because time is money, essentially.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially with like, I think we both worked on what, television, like web series, where the turnaround time is just awfully short, and like you're just under the pump so often.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I think working on episodic work was the most stressful I've probably ever been in the industry, just because of the short turnaround times.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I actually agree. I prefer working on motion pictures, like movies, because at least there's time to breathe and like really make things look nice.
There's definitely like more of a lull in film, I think, than there is in episodic.
Yeah.
Well, that was me with like animation. Lighting wise, this is where I kind of get a little bit not the best role model, because outside of coursework, I did no personal study on lighting.
Oh,
at all.
No, you and me the same. I think
I just remember I did like a whole 4 weeks of intense lighting learning, and then I did absolutely nothing for a good 3 to 4 months, and then I suddenly had a job in lighting. And I was like, oh, okay, guess I can do this.
Like, I think I spent more time and effort in trying to understand how to animate and do 3D modeling than I did lighting, only because I already started doing photography as a side thing, and we both draw, so we understand the importance of like color theory and lighting and perspective. It's sort of just slotted itself into place. Everything else though, like, it's just, I spent so much time trying to model, and I just cannot. like the speed people get things done outside of lighting is amazing, and even
Oh
compositing.
yeah. I have a huge respect for anybody outside of lighting now because I'm like, I don't understand your job at all, but I have major respect.
Oh yeah, major. You, I think being towards the end of a pipeline is probably what made me really, really appreciate the compositors, the texture artists, and everybody else upstream as well, because we just get it all, hopefully, in a nice, lovely little package with a big ribbon bow on it.
Hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully that's the case. But yeah, and then like when I got my job in lighting, I was still wanting to pursue animation, so I was doing like animation courses
Mm.
while full time working. So I'd be up at 4 o'clock in the morning, listening in on my lectures,
Oh
and then
yeah.
I'd go.
So after we've graduated, how much effort outside of coursework did you would you reckon like you'd put in to get to the skill you were at when you were first hired?
Oh, as a lighting artist, absolutely nothing. And that's really, it's so bad to say. I'm so sorry, but like I was so busy with like commission, and I also didn't really have space for lighting specifically to really do any personal work.
Your audio got caught off. So you were so busy with what?
With like, I was doing art commissions a lot.
Mm.
So I was taking on a lot of art, and I was doing like a couple of bookwork stuff, and I kind of I had time, but I also didn't have time because then all my creative mental state was just brain fried. So
Mm.
and plus I wanted to do animation, as I said, so I poured a lot of my time into animation courses and not lighting. So when I actually joined the lighting academy, I was like, oh no, I don't remember all that much. I just know how to do some simple things.
What was getting into the lighting academy and like getting the first job, I guess the biggest thing in anyone's career, the first job. What was the biggest learning curve?
Ooh, the biggest learning curve. That's a that's an interesting one. I guess like the oh biggest learning curve. I guess it's like trying to apply what I had learned in the short time that I had lighting experience to now I'm doing this for 10 hours a day, every day. And I kind of know what I'm doing, but I don't know what I'm doing. And this is a whole new program. Like, I had never used the program that we were using at all. It was just similar to Houdini. So I kind of knew what I was doing, but at the same time, it was a what is this thing you've just shoved in front of me and want me to to start lighting in? Essentially, it was kind of that whole I've just shown you that I can apparently do lighting, and I don't know how I can prove that.
Mm.
If that makes sense.
No, yeah, I completely get you. I think when we were in college, the thing that we were most familiar with would be Maya and Foundry's Nuke, which is what is used for a lot of compositing now. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
when we first got into the Lighting Academy, which, chat, this is how we first met. Love at first sight, that's essentially what it was.
I locked eyes with May, and then she couldn't get rid of me.
We fell in love, and here we are, work wives. So, we had to learn Foundry's new lighting specific software. It's called Katana, and at the time when it was first released, it was the worst software for us because when we wanted to look up documentation, like I guess a user manual on how to get certain things to work, we'll get the swords. We get the actual katana swords up on Google instead, and finding well, obviously swords are useless to us. Remember how many times we had to look up a specific problem and all we got was swords and we're just like, what?
We just come up with like a picture of a katana, and we were like, "No,
No.
what are you doing?"
So we had to put in a whole bunch of keywords and then katana, and it's just sort of narrowed it down. Nowadays, though, you look up on Google, there is a lot more resources. But at the time for us, like, learning a new software is super steep learning curve, especially if it's proprietary software. So for those who are not familiar, when you first enter into a visual effects studio, you will get like the package basically of the pipeline. Like, you open this software to get this particular thing done. Once you're done with that, you put it through this particular thing to process it, and it streamlines everything down, and you just eventually you just know where to go. It's like opening up Excel or Word or OneNote, depending on what you've been hired to do. And some places, the big names like MPC, Framestore, and Weta, for example, they have their own proprietary software, which means they've gotten a base package of the big name like Maya or Houdini, and then they start coding and adding a whole bunch of extra stuff on it that you can't find anywhere else. Well, you supposedly cannot find anywhere else. It's only in that studio you can access it. So not only do you have to learn a new software right out the box, like Katana, you also have to learn how the pipeline works, and you also have to learn what the special extra proprietary settings do. And that's probably like a really steep learning curve for anybody.
I think I was going to add on to that. The steep learning curve for me, and I think you'll agree with this, is when we were in the academy together, we had to use Windows. And then when they shoved us onto the show floor, we had to use Linux. So we basically had to learn a whole new computer setup on the run.
Yeah. A lot of visual effects places, like studios, they all just use Linux. You get one or two, I guess, boutique, smaller studios, and they stick to Windows. Like, I know there are some studios in Sydney that use Windows, and the rest use Linux. I do think Linux is better, though. It just means that you can configure it the way you need it to function, whereas Windows, you have to deal with a whole bunch of stuff. that I don't,
folders.
Just not even folders. It's more of anything goes wrong, you have to contact customer support, and then you have to go through their proprietary solutions.
Whereas, in Linux, you can kind of get the information like right in front of you if you tell it to do it, and you can do it if you tell it right.
Yeah. Although anybody who's an IT professional listening to us will probably maybe disagree with a lot of our grievances. You're more than welcome to type angrily in chat and put us in our place, but for the time being, this is where we stand, and this is what our opinion is. But if you disagree, do so politely in chat. So now that we've got the learning curve out of the way, what sort of projects did you end up working? We touched upon like episodic stuff and like motion pictures, but like, yeah, if you want to name names, you're more than welcome to.
Yeah. So I guess let's see.
Oh, you're mumbling. Your microphone's putting you on mumble mode.
Mumble mode? Come on, Chris. Work for me. It's definitely being a interesting time.
You've cut off again.
Have I?
Yeah.
This is a normal thing with my mic, unfortunately.
This is a relatively normal thing.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think that your internet provider just doesn't like it when you talk to me.
It doesn't like it when I talk to anybody, to be honest.
Ah, that sounds like a toxic relationship you have there, mate.
Okay. How's that better?
It's better now.
It's better now. Okay, I've tried to change some settings. Um, see how I go. Uh, the question again was what I've worked on, right?
Yes.
Yeah. In my first year, I worked on two visual effects films. So I worked on Dora and the Lost City of Gold, and then I worked on the infamous Cats, which was a time.
Mm.
And then after that, I didn't work for about 6 months because, yay, COVID.
Yeah.
And then I worked for a year on Rainbow High,
Mm-hmm.
which is a episodic series.
You've cut out there. We've got you saying you've worked on Rainbow High.
Yep, the episodic YouTube series about dolls.
Mm.
And then I moved back into visual effects. I went into I did some work on Peacemaker a little bit, and then I just recently finished on a Thor: Love and Thunder.
Oh, fantastic. No, those
So
are some.
fun times.
Yeah, those are pretty baller. Sid Treefish has said that Cats was a masterpiece.
It really depends. Like, I'm a really optimistic person, and I see the good in everything. So I actually really liked my work on Cats. But you know, things happen.
In all honesty, the shots that you worked on in Cats were probably one of the, like, a part of the better shots in the entire movie. Like,
I still remember one of my colleagues messaging me one day, and he's sitting on the other side of the studio. He's like, I can see your hot pink lighting from over here. Because I worked on like the hot pink lighting for what, a good 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a time.
I remember. Okay, so we were working in the same studio, and I got to help out on Cats. But before I even got to touch it with like a single keystroke on my keyboard, I remember, because we were in the same studio on the same floor but completely different projects. I was at the time working on Finch, which is a Apple TV movie, which was supposed
Which
to
is actually really good.
I've not seen it. I don't own Apple products, so I feel like I've been movie blocked. So I remember walking past, like, we'll enter, and then the first thing we'd see is where the Cats team is. And not going to lie, from the moment we started work up until I got to leave, because I left on time, it was nothing, the atmosphere was nothing but pure stress and depression.
I guess that depends on the people as well, because I remember I would just leave on time. I didn't work an inch of overtime during the day. I would only do it on weekends, and even then I only did like 1 or 2 weekends of overtime.
I remember I went in on a Saturday because I just wanted to make sure things are going smoothly. Like, that's just how I am. And my partner and I, we were just out and about. We were about to get some shopping done as well. And I was like, oh yeah, well, I'm here. I might as well just, quickly duck in and like have a quick squiz and make sure everything's all right. It shouldn't be more than 5-10 minutes. 8 hours later. It wasn't exactly 8 hours, but it was actually several hours, and my partner at the time was not happy, and I felt guilty. Okay, granted, this is 75% my fault. Absolutely, I should not have gone in weekend this weekend. That's completely my fault, and I'm still making it up to my partner to this day. I feel immense guilt. Kids kids, chat, don't work on weekends if you didn't have to. If you have a bad...
I just want to come in here and mention that you were doing this way before that happened, because I distinctively remember.
No, we don't talk about that. No.
It was like, hey guys, everything's dead. Merry Christmas at 3 o'clock in the morning.
That's something I will never do again. That's in hindsight, that's a dick move. I was the bad guy in that scenario.
You absolutely were. We were like, what are you doing? Go to bed.
And in my defense, I literally lived across the road.
That's no excuse.
It was an excuse, but I was... okay, so this is something that it's graduates and juniors who get into like these intensive programs that actually suffer from, and I am a epitome of that. Other people like you are well-adjusted individuals with healthy doses of work-life balance, and all of that. I ended up moving interstate on my own. And the only thing that was on my mind at the time was that if I didn't do good enough, it meant that I don't get hired. And if I didn't get hired, I have no other means of paying my rent, my food, or even to get back home. That was my actual legitimate fear at the time. And I think a lot of people, juniors, don't realize this when they see an offer going, hey, travel overseas. Okay, so this is sidetracking on things I wish I knew before I started. When you're being offered to move interstate, whether it's interstate or overseas, make sure you have enough money to last you at least 2 years of living there in the event that you do not have income. Because the real fear now that I continue to have is that, one, while I have secured a contract renewals and like re-offers are unstable. The visual effects industry is extremely unstable. The longest amount of contract time length I've ever seen is 1 year. What do you do after 1 year when they go, nah, sorry, we don't need your services anymore? Because there are other worse contracts that are way more often. 3 months, 6 months. Those are the most common ones. The ones we had up in, like, up north state, was like a month or 3 weeks at the time. And they'll just continue to renew it, but there's no, like, guarantee until you bring it up, right? So you sit there for God knows how long in actual fear of not doing well enough to have continued employment. So you're desperate, and my desperation is that I go above and beyond up until I get physically burnt out and I can no longer function because I'm too exhausted.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's something that I wish was hammered on a lot more while we were learning. And that's something that even as juniors, like we're still juniors after 3-4 years. Like, I don't think anyone would take that advice seriously until they experience it themselves and then regurgitate that to other people downstream.
It's definitely something that you learn from experience. And like I remember in uni, like my teachers telling me, oh, when you're a junior you have to put in like all these extra hours and you have to do this and you have to do that. And when I actually got into the industry, it wasn't really that at all.
Oh yeah. I think the most predatory industry-wide thing though is the concept of you only get paid overtime after you do X amount of hours.
Yeah, that's a really tricky one because there's obviously like rules and stuff with Fair Work. So that's just like a thing you sort of have to deal with. I mean, we're really lucky with what we have now and the situation that we're in. But I know a lot of people who worked with us as juniors in our first year who did so much overtime and didn't get paid for that.
Oh yeah, and I remember a lot of the sentiment was they would never work in the industry again. It's just too much. The hours they're demanding, the hours they want, and a lot of the times you get followed up with questions from producers who handle our shot allocations and making sure we're keeping ourselves on target. They're like, hey, can you get this out for us tonight? And then I know people who automatically say yes. I say yes, even though it meant staying back another 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah, and that was before pandemic times.
Oh yeah. Now we don't have to. We've got like a few years under our belt, and we have like a really good sense of how long things would take, so we know when to say yes or no. But
I also think, like, in my perspective, I think that's just a huge, like, I don't want to disappoint anybody either.
oh yeah, for sure.
Like, I think that's a huge thing. Like, I'm a huge people pleaser, and I will, like, say yes to a lot of things, even though I know I probably don't have the capacity to take it on. But I'm also like, but am I a valuable member if I don't? Because I know this person's really busy.
Oh yeah, and we like you and I, we have no idea exactly what goes into consideration when it comes to like extension of employment and stuff like that, right? So we, like I mentioned before, we live in a constant state of anxiety. Let's say our contract 6 months. Once it hits like the 4th month, the anxiety starts coming up, and you're just like, do I have a job? Do I need to start looking? And looking for a new job is always extremely stressful. But worrying if you're going to have a job in 2 months' time is even more stressful.
I think honestly, it's harder for juniors as well because when you're looking for jobs, they'll be like, oh, we want people with like 2 years experience or 3 years experience. And it's like, oh, I've got like this much experience, but I can do this. So
You've broken off there. We're looking for people with like 2 years experience.
yeah, like when you're looking at the job like posts, and it's asking for like people with 2 years experience, and I feel like when I stopped my first contract, I only had like 9 months really of visual effects experience. I didn't have a whole year under my belt yet.
Oh,
so
yeah.
it was kind of like I've done this amount of work. Could this kind of make up for it? Because you just don't know what companies really want. So I guess that was like a big anxiety of mine: is will they look at my months of experience to the years that they want?
Yeah, a lot of the times when companies look for juniors with at minimum 2 years, 2 years experience or even 1 year experience, it's because they handle like large contracts like say Marvel, and these companies are so strict about security that there isn't much leeway for visual effects houses to handle having people less than that amount of experience to come in. At least that's my perspective of it. I know some...
No, yeah.
So now that you got some experience under your belt, how do you feel? Like in terms of the confidence you have being able to, let's say you gotta look out for a new job, and holy macaroni, Diablo Saw, thank you so much for the 5 gift subs to my dismal, dusty, non-core JK drawers, and Angie. Joe, you now have a sub to
I have
my
a
Twitch
sub.
channel.
I'm so honored. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the subs. Oh my gosh, I am quite flustered. You are so kind. And I am very appreciative and grateful
New
for that.
subscriber from me.
Sorry?
Oh, it's just come up with the little the pop up where it says new subscriber from me, and I thought that was just really funny.
You deserve. Mom, thank you so much for coming in. I deserve them? No. Okay, I'll take
Are you
that.
blushing?
I am. I'm the type of person where I like to shower people in kindness, but the moment someone turns around and do it to me, I start running away. I cannot handle affection.
Oh, darling.
Okay, well, how do you feel now that you have
Some experience under my belt.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be honest, I'm much more confident with the work that I'm given.
You are very muffled. You sound like a pillow is attempting to strangle you.
Oh, jeez. Thank you for informing me every time this happens. How's that?
Yeah. I mean, we can say yep all we want, but we won't know until later on.
Look, until I actually start talking about what I have to talk about, my microphone's just going to die. So, you know, all the fun things.
All the fun things.
Now that I have experience, I'm much more confident in what I'm given. Like, I can look at a shot now and I can be like, oh, that's kind of like, I could probably do this and do that. Whereas when I started, I was like a deer in headlights. No idea how to approach a shot. No idea how to do okay, fun fact, and you'll probably remember this. My very first shot I was ever given in industry was dappled lighting.
Yes.
And that is crazy hard to pull off. That's probably not even something I should have been given.
It's crazy
to be completely honest.
It was crazy hard to pull off from our perspective, but knowing what we know now and how to do dapple lighting, it's the easiest. You put in a texture onto the lights, boom! Dapple lighting, biatches!
You know, fun fact, I didn't even do that.
You made all of the lights and the blockers.
I went into Maya and I made a mesh with holes in it because the textures would not work. So I was like, this is how I'm gonna do things.
Citryfish has asked a very good question. What is that? Dappled lighting, ladies and gentlemen, is the lighting you get when you go underneath, say, like, buildings or trees, and you get, like, pockets of light and, like, pockets of shadow, and it's like a nice little patterned, like, visual appeal going on there. So, fun fact, if you want to know how to do that in a 3D program, just slap on a texture that has, like, leaves or, like, random blocks filled in, and that should work. If it doesn't, that's a very specific problem that you are having, and I cannot help.
There are ways to get around it.
Yeah.
It just depends on how you go about it. But yeah, I got that shot done eventually. But yeah, the way I approach things now is definitely much easier than how I originally approached.
Oh yeah. I remember my first shot being assigned to me, and I'm still proud of it, was to recreate water caustics.
Oh, I remember that.
I resented the lead who gave it to me, but at the same time, my brain is like, challenge accepted. I'm a gamer. Let's go.
I remember that whole conversation when they came over and they were like, "Do you like to be challenged?" And you were like, "Yes." So you kind of put yourself there.
Oh yeah, I dug myself a hole. I remember I had a dapple lighting on Dora the Explorer live action movie where it was just Dora running through the forest, the lovely Queensland rainforest, for those who are interested in movie tidbit trivias. And we have boots on her back. It's supposed to have dapple lighting of her going in and out of shadow. So I did the dumbest thing possible, which no one corrected me on, mind you, no one. I had multiple area lights, and I set up blockers as well, doing live renders, going frame by frame, making sure, you know, it's doing the right thing, only for it to end up, in the end, everyone going, oh yeah, compositing can do that.
They didn't even say that for me, because mine was so, like, specific to where it had to sit.
Yours was quite specific, but I spent 2 months on that for
you
them
did.
to turn around. You did. For composing to spend like a week on it. 2 months to a week. I felt cheated.
It's alright. You live and you learn.
Well, it's good to know that like both of us feel a lot more comfortable and confident now. That we know how to do our jobs. Like, we know exactly what to do to get the result we want. The only thing that we'll probably have to worry about is whether or not we'll, like, pick up a pipeline fast enough, right?
Yeah, and I guess that really depends on the pipeline and how well it's set up. So, you know, I can't really speak for pipelines, because I've only really just started learning them myself.
And some pipelines take like 6 months to a year to fully understand and like really know what's going on.
Yeah, pretty much.
So as a junior, this is where I attacked both of us in one fell swoop. What's a daily struggle you go through currently as, you know, a junior member of the team?
A daily struggle. It's a couple of things for me. So the first thing is I have really, really bad imposter syndrome. It comes probably once a week on a very specific day. It doesn't matter what day it is. But I will always overthink.
You cut off there. So you got really bad imposter syndrome.
Yeah. It happens all the time for me. I have a really bad.
You have a.
Friends will attest to this that I'm always like.
Yeah. Are you fixing your microphone setup at the moment?
Yes. Am I still breaking up?
Yeah.
I'm just like playing with the settings.
Well, you're sounding pretty good at the moment.
Okay, I think it's just... Okay, just for context, I recently moved overseas, and I just sort of had to buy a really cheap headset.
Oh no!
So I don't have like my really beautiful snowball mic that usually picks up me really crisp. And they're also like really expensive here, so I just haven't bought one yet. So everyone's had to deal with like this really crappy microphone.
Is it a call center microphone?
I don't know. It's a headset with a microphone, Pen.
Because there's two
I was
types.
like, this will do.
There's two types. There's one that's the gamer headset with the microphone, and the other one is what they use in call centers, which is the flimsiest shit ever. And the microphone is so
no.
goddamn awful, and it gives me PTSD.
I have it's technically a gaming headset, but all the gaming headset mics that I've ever had just do me so dirty.
I've not had a good gaming headset, headset microphone combo. That's why I got like a microphone on its own and a headset on its own. It's just cheaper, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll invest in a really nice mic eventually. It's just not happening right now. So I'm really sorry for my microphone quality. I sort of just had to deal.
No, don't be sorry about your microphone quality. We have to apologize for our inability to understand you.
Maybe sometimes that's a good thing. But yeah, it's like my to answer your question, and I went on a tangent about my crappy microphone. Imposter syndrome sucks.
Particularly
when you work in a very small team, and like my current daily struggle at the moment is, do I deserve these shots? Am I worthy to light this shot?
Oh my
Because
god, yes.
I've been given some really tough stuff to light. And I'm like, is this my level? Should I be doing this? Am I asking too many questions of you, my absolutely wonderful leads and supervisors?
I get that on a daily basis. A lot of my questions I feel are really, really dumb. And before anybody comes and say, "Oh, there's no such thing as a dumb question," that's a lie.
No, okay. No, I'm going to attest to that. I thought I asked really dumb questions, but in the last couple years, I have learned that is not the case, because even people with more experience than me have come in and been like, "I have a really dumb question."
It's like, I think
So
my last dumb question that I asked resulted in me putting a shot on the render wall too late, so they couldn't show it to the client that very day, and I felt so guilty. You know what that question was? How do I increase the density in smoke?
oh, darling.
I know the answer, but the problem is, to get to the answer, you need to figure out the working out in the middle. I used the wrong input to do my testing. So I was like to my lead, I don't see any difference. The smoke still looks the same. It doesn't look any thicker, you know? And the lead's like, oh. I'll have a look into the scene for you. And then as I was going through it, I had a massive light bulb moment where I'm just like, did I use the wrong input for my tests? And that probably explains why I didn't see any change. Yes, I used the wrong input for the last 3 hours.
That's such a me thing to do as well.
And these test renders, they take half an hour to even pop up, let alone resolve.
Yep, I understand that pain all too.
Oh, it's awful.
Oh, jeez.
It's awful.
But yeah, that's kind of what I mean. It's like, do I deserve this shot to work on? I am a junior. Do you trust me?
Am I worthy? So that's a shared struggle that we both have here. And speaking of struggle though, how are you in balance? How are you coping with balancing work and life in general? Are you struggling to keep them all separate, or you basically you're able to like switch back and forth pretty easily.
Um, hmm. It's really interesting because I actually worked remote for about over half a year. So, and you currently work remote. So I think I found it harder to get off when I was on remote because I'm like, I can put in like another hour or two and get things done. Whereas before pandemic and before that whole working from home thing could happen, I was much more strict on my hours and what the effort I would put in that regard, because as soon as 6 p.m. hit, I was out the door.
Yeah, for sure.
But I was also in at like what, 7:45, 8 o'clock in the morning from memory. So I was already working pretty long days without even realizing it. And I also tried to have a life outside of work because I think it's so important to have that. So it was kind of I to actually answer your question, I'm not really struggling at the moment because I'm not in crunch time.
Yeah.
I'm kind of in like the beginning stage of a project at the moment, so everything's kind of like chill and not too like stressful.
For sure. Would you say that you're more of a, like, personally from your own assessment, are you more of an office, like go to the office, or are you more of a work from the comforts of your own room?
Definitely before pandemic, I was office all the way. I was I will only work in the office. I'll never work from home. And then when I had to work from home, because of COVID, I had to adjust. And I feel like I kind of like a mix of it, to be honest. I like being able to just sort of be in my own little bubble and not have to travel to and from and then relax. I can just go straight to relaxing afterwards.
Okay. Yeah, like...
It's yeah.
Sorry.
Oh no, you go.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, I've noticed on, like, subreddits, like, the visual effects subreddits, there's a healthy balance of people who prefer working from home because they have family and they have kids, and then people who prefer going to the office because they're very social, and being able to talk to your coworkers is a massive thing for them.
Oh yeah, that's huge.
Alright. And do you currently have hobbies outside of work? Do you find it difficult to, like, set aside time for it because you're just constantly tired, or it's just not there, like the motivation's not there?
Okay, struggles. Art is a big struggle for me at the moment. I really struggle to actually draw when I'm working full time because I put a lot of my brain power into my job, and when I get home, I just don't want to do anything else. So I kind of just
You kind of just what?
I kind of just stare at my computer.
You stare at your computer? Oh, yeah.
I've been productive somewhat all day.
So we missed, like, all of that.
Yes, you did. Fine. Try and get the sweet spot. Okay. Did I get the sweet spot?
I think you might have gotten it back for now. We'll see how much longer that will be.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Yay, headsets.
No, I completely understand though, like, just having all of the effort and motivation put into a day job which you enjoy doing very much, and then just coming home and finding difficulty in just mustering that same energy again for like other things.
Oh, yeah, like I don't understand how some people in the industry can then go home and continue doing industry.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I don't understand it. My brain can't do it. And that's even with my own hobbies. Like, I want to come home. I want to draw. I want to write. But my brain just shuts down. It can't.
Yeah, yeah, no, I get you. Like, I'm trying to stream a lot more frequently, and I'm trying to do more outside stuff of work, but it's just a constant state of exhaustion, like mental exhaustion. If you're traveling, then there's the physicality of it. But since I work from home, a lot of this is just a massive, massive mental block right after I just clock out.
Yep.
What? So, leading into that though, with your experience overall and knowing what you know now, what are the upsides and downsides of being a lighting artist from your perspective?
The upsides and downsides. I think, like, a really, really cool thing about being a lighting artist is that you kind of get this glimpse of how the movie is going to look at the end
Mm.
in, like, its raw format, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Or, like, a comp artist will come in and, you know, do all their really fancy tricks and stuff to it to make it look even.
We didn't quite catch that last bit.
Sorry. Before a comp artist comes in and does all their, like, really pretty, fancy layer work, smushing it together into a single image.
So before the comp artist comes in and puts all the fancy stuff together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, like, a huge upside for me. But a downside is we're such a bottleneck in the industry that there's a lot of waiting. And, like, a shot that you think will only take, like, 2 weeks tops, you'll have on your plate for, like, 2 to 3 months.
Yeah. Or even like clients asking for last minute changes. I think we saw several articles from other VFX artists who have way more experience than us, way senior, talking about say Marvel and their requests and stuff like that. So
yeah, and, like, I don't know if, like, you remember chatting to people at previous jobs, but, like, I've heard those sort of stories everywhere. So, like, all those articles coming out now, it's really interesting to just read it with the perspective of being in the industry as well.
what like, I suppose, yeah, no, it's actually very interesting. And you know what sort of is kind of a sad thing that came out of it from my perspective?
What is? Yeah, go on. Yeah.
You see the articles, and well, I see the articles, and the first thing I think of, because it's written for the general public, right? For people who aren't in the industry, for the moviegoers and stuff. So the first thing I thought is, yeah, but that's normal.
Yeah, it's really interesting seeing how the general public reacts to that sort of stuff. Because, like, when I was on the Rainbow High, it was really reading comments where they're like, oh, it was done, like, months ago. They're just, like, releasing them slowly. They're working on, like, season 5 now. And that wasn't the case at all.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we were working on the episodes as they were coming. So, very stressful. And I think that's just one thing that people never really quite realize is you're kind of working on these until the very end possible.
Oh yeah, for sure. You were cutting out bits and parts of it, but you were saying it wasn't the case at all, and you were usually working on the episodes and seasons just as they were coming, and they were usually released very soon after, so the turnaround time is very tight and very stressful, right?
Literally the next day or that day.
Ooh, yeah, that's
So-
super tight.
Super tight.
That's like tight levels of tight.
Yeah, very, very stressful.
And would you say like that's probably among your biggest fears in general? Like, you know, really tight deadlines, extended work hours because of client requested changes that are, from your perspective, from our perspectives, are quite last minute when they said nothing earlier on, and potentially job security.
Well, that's a really tricky question because I don't really deal on that side of things. Like that's not really something I just have to do.
Yeah, you've cut out there.
What was I saying?
You're still cut out.
Let me just get the sweet spot again. Because I'm lining up just fine.
Yeah, the audio just isn't coming through.
Apparently, so it's a bit confusing for me. Am I coming through okay now?
Not very clear, no.
Of course. Voice and video.
Well, you're coming through right now.
It's always when I'm not talking about the stuff I should be talking about. Let's try.
Citree says that it might be an issue with Crisp. Maybe you can try have
Let's
that turned
try.
off.
Let's try these settings. Don't know if that's gonna work.
Oh, that sounds good. That sounds good.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay, I just took Crisp completely off.
Yeah.
We'll see if it stays.
Yeah, Chris sometimes is like that. You need like a particular setup for that to work, I feel.
Yeah, I need the like the really nice big snowball mic for that to come through properly. I just didn't bother to change it when I moved.
Yeah.
I think Chris doesn't work well with bad mics. Thanks. Reinforcing my what I said earlier.
You're welcome.
You need the Maui's gift to come up on that.
What can I say? But you're welcome.
Pretty much.
That's probably not how it goes, and I butchered the tune, but we'll deal.
It's the copyright. Don't want to get muted. I'm so sorry. What was your question again?
What's your biggest fear?
Was it that? Oh, it was something with client. It's something with clientele. And hitting like their requests and stuff. But like I was saying before when I cut out again, that's not really my position to talk about because I don't really deal with that. That's someone else's job entirely. And I just sort of have to try and do what I can to get that to happen, but unfortunately life is life, stuff happens, and we can't control that.
Yeah.
So I guess I have a little bit of fear if that does affect my performance. But at the same time, I guess my fear is just more like, am I doing a good job anyway? If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get you. Yeah, I think my biggest fear right now, and it's probably the most common fear, is job security and stability. Like, I don't like living in a constant state of anxiety. And, you know, before anybody comes up with the bright idea of saying, well, just pick a different industry. I love what I do, despite all of its faults. Like, you and I, we both love what we do. And
I love my job.
we wouldn't have it any other way. The thing is, I just like to be more confident that I can still continue doing it.
No, yeah, I think everybody goes through that sort of phase.
Mm. Instead, like, what's this is just a general question. Since we're reaching the end of our little session, essentially, we reached the last couple of questions, like the last few questions. What's in general, what's grinding your gears right now?
What's grinding my gears right now? It's not a tough question. It's a very broad question.
Oh, yeah.
Because my gears get grinded over really simple.
You've cut out again. I think right now, ladies and gentlemen, Joe's microphone is grinding her gears.
Yeah, it is. It really is. I also have a feeling it's just Discord being Discord.
Oh, yeah. It could just be that.
That's just sort of how it is. Because on Teams, it's perfectly fine. It works perfectly fine in other ways. So I think it's just Discord being a pain, along with my.
Discord is great, except when it's not.
Yeah, pretty much. I always go into the settings and I'm like playing around with it because everyone's like, yo, your mic sucks.
Apparently it's an issue that keeps popping up and everyone's tried a lot of things to try and fix it, but to no avail. I think a new microphone is in order.
This happened in Queensland. It's gonna I knew it was gonna happen here eventually, but you guys are just gonna have to deal with it.
What can I
For
say?
the time being.
What can I say? But it's the family service that you've got.
You mean the roasting? the family roasting that I can never get away from.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Is a good net. And before like our next chat, I'll try and invest in a good mic.
It's alright. There's no rush. If you just go at your own pace. We've been doing fine for the majority. It's just every now and then there's pockets.
It's always when I have to talk about what we're actually talking about.
And I think it's just the nature of welcome to the first episode of XYZ.
I'm always the guinea pig.
That, and I have a history of, I believe if anybody who's seen me stream the last few times, I have a history of just scuff. There are times where I've gone and done an entire stream and didn't realize my microphone was muted.
Oh, you poor thing.
I am terrible at these things. So
yeah, my mic is something that grinds my gears a lot at the moment. But I guess it's actually a really big one is when a first trailer goes to the general public and everybody comments on how the visual effects looks.
Oh yeah, but that's
and it's like, guys, it's not complete. It's still going. Deal with it. We're fine.
It's yeah.
And then the official trailer will come out, and it's like, whoa, the VFX looks so good. It's like, yeah, because we've had like 3 more months to work on it.
Oh yeah. Like first trailers are usually, here's a scuff version of what we have, but it's still really nice. Like it's a professional scuff. The second trailer is when things are getting way better and like way more polished.
Yeah.
And moving on to the next question. What are your goals and aspirations?
Oh, my overarching goal since I was a kid. I'm pausing a lot to wait for you to be like, "Lol, you're mumbling again." um, is I want to open my own studio and do my own in-house work. Like, I don't want to do any client work. I just want to do a company that makes its own stuff, which is going to be a lot of money in itself, but I think that would just be a really interesting endeavor that I've always really been interested in, if that makes sense. And like in the how many years you've known me, and I don't shut up about it.
Oh no, do tell me. This is the first time I've heard of it.
Yeah, you know, all the fun things. Like I like D&D games way too much, to the point that I'm now trying to write a novel on one of the campaigns that I'm in. And I don't shut up about the character that's in it half the time if anybody asks me about her. And I'm like, let me tell you a story.
Everybody, go onto Joe's Twitter, draws_JK, and start asking her about her D&D campaign.
No one needs to know about that in the world of my mind at the moment, because it's always on my mind.
Oh yeah, just ask her. Like, you know, go into her DMs and just be like, yo, what's the new update?
What's the deal with the tiefling?
Yeah, talk about the tiefling.
Yeah.
Oh, Osman is sweating nervously.
Instead of talking about hobbies, didn't even talk about TTRPGs. Look, that takes over my life on the other side of work. It's like, oh, yes, that's also there. It's like a looming shadow.
I mean, we can always have you back on as from the perspective of someone who's addicted to their TTRPG campaign. And then we'll even have your DM on as well to sweat live on air.
Yeah. And the show starts bringing up the D&D addiction. Shush.
That's how I roll, baby.
I do agree, Sidtree.
They're the best. They are the best. Well,
emotionally damaging in every way possible.
Look, just because you're an otter that likes to emotionally damage a character doesn't mean we all do the same thing. Just smacking it on the rock.
This is a chat about my D&D experiences. If you stop me, I won't shut up.
Your hubris has now cut you off from the microphone.
Oh my god. I shouldn't talk about D&D because I'm just never gonna shut up about it.
Well, we can have you on for another episode, talk about D&D and how your particular campaign is going on, and that would probably lead into, the kind of projects that you want to work with in your future studio kind of deal, if that is something you're more than happy to do.
Oh, like, I am definitely more than happy to talk about it. And it but it also depends on, like, you know, my partner.
You've cut out there.
That's why I was pausing a lot, because I'm like, I gotta say that I'm cut out again. Yeah, if the DM my wonderful partner.
You're still cut out.
I can't even give love, like, shout outs to my wonderful dungeon master / boyfriend.
Shout them out. Go on.
Oh, I'm not cutting out now?
You're not cutting out now. Give them the shout out.
I'm giving the Osmana is my wonderful partner in crime, and he also runs the D&D campaign that I never shut up about. So
Osman Art, if you're here, drop your Twitter. You know, because why not? You do fantastic art as well.
Oh, like, gorgeous art. Absolutely amazing art. It is your fault. It's absolutely your fault. Your dice are cursed. I swear.
Cursed or blessed?
Look, I curse them every session. But sometimes they come to bite me back in the butt.
You keep coming back. And, you know, on that tangent, you mentioned about your studio. Is that also something you are hoping for the future as well?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, my whole thing is to, like, I want to get more experience first. Like, I think I want, like, another 5-ish years before I even attempt that.
So
I
yeah, sorry, go on.
I just want to know what I'm getting myself into.
So
Yeah.
buying yourself, grinding yourself some more experience. Would you reckon that you want to know how every aspect of it, of the industry is working before you consider opening up a studio, or you know?
You're basically asking, do I want to know the ins and outs of every department?
Yeah.
I would love to have that dedication, but there are people much more knowledgeable than me in that.
And that's why we hire them.
And that's why we hire them. Because I respect all departments. I think they're great. I love them. I also I just don't have the mental capacity to withhold all that information.
Oh yeah, like our brains at some point is just gonna stop functioning the more stuff we put into it.
Like I have a huge respect for CG supervisors because, like, during meetings they'll just be like talking all this language that these other departments understand, and I don't understand it. And I'm like, how do you know this?
Oh yeah, I think that just comes up with like time and experience when they hear the
yeah,
other
for sure.
lingo.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
And
But I think we missed a question. It was, what was the most memorable moment on something that you worked on?
oh, we talked about that so many times.
Did we?
Yeah,
Have we?
Talked about our infamous dapple lighting, the infamous
Oh yeah,
movies.
yeah.
You know, I
I think that's right. It was. I thought that was that's because there was like one moment that just came up in my mind. I was like, oh wait, did we talk about that?
No, share that moment. Share that moment.
You. So I'm usually the guinea pig, remember? Because I break stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember a moment in the academy when a friend of ours made a tool. He spent like 2 weeks ironing out this tool before he gave it to us. And he's like, it's unbreakable. Nothing can happen to it. And I had it for a total of 5 minutes. And I made it have the worst break to the point that we couldn't use the tool anymore. Because we couldn't replicate it. And if it happened again to someone else, it would just be a disaster. I just remember it. And I just remember it so distinctively.
Oh, he was gutted. He was gutted.
He was so gutted. I had it for a total of 5 minutes. And I broke it. So then everyone would give me the tools, and they still do it today. They're like, can you do this? And I'm like, is that because I get all the doozies?
Oh yeah, for sure. You are like the best troubleshooter for doozies right now.
I'm the best troubleshooter. I just had to backtrack because that came into my mind all of a sudden, and I was like, it was just too perfect.
Too perfect. Too good. Do you, Insane It Day, here's our final question for the night. do you, like, you and I, we've discussed this in private several times, like, like what we feel is probably useful and not useful. Do you have advice for recent graduates and, like, aspiring juniors who are sort of feeling overwhelmed in their first job, but, like, sort of want some reassurance?
Okay. I could go on a couple of ways here. Am I breaking up at all?
No, not yet.
Okay. Until I start talking about what I'm supposed to be talking about. So, I think for recent graduates, don't really sweat about getting into the industry straight away. The hardest part of this industry is getting your foot in the door first. That's the hardest part of this industry. Once your foot is in the door, you're pretty much good. And then it's just after that, just try and be confident in yourself. Just do your work. Be nice to people. Just take it all in your stride. Learn those workflows from it, because everybody has a different workflow, which is crazy. Like, the amount of people I've worked with over the last 3 years and the amount of different workflows that I've learned is insanity.
Yeah.
And you can't please everybody with how you work, so try and find what works best for you that's also clean.
You've cut off there. Sorry to cut you off. You've cut off there. Could you repeat that last bit?
I think it was about workflows.
Yeah. You were at you can't please everybody, and then you started.
You can't. You can't please everybody with your workflow. It's kind of like everybody approaches things differently. Like you and I, if we were to swap files, we would have completely different ways of working. That's just something we have to deal with. And you've had to work with my files before, because you've helped me.
You've cut off there again. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'll just sit here and sink into my chair a little bit more as I move my microphone. How's that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good?
Yeah.
It's because I'm not talking.
It's not good anymore.
Of course it's not. Of course not. You're gonna have such a fun time editing this.
Oh, there will be no edit. I'm just gonna put out a raw 2-hour video. And anybody...
2-hour video of me having microphone issues.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's for those who want to sit through and want to know. Like, this is first episode. In all honesty, I approach this like I approach everything in life. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just gonna wing it and see how it goes, and then learn from that.
In your defense, I am usually the guinea pig for everything.
Oh yeah, you are.
So this is perfect. You know.
Yeah.
Grinds the gears, rearing its head again. Yes. Yes, Diablo. Absolutely. Am I cutting out now?
No.
Excellent.
You are now.
Excellent. we love a good cut.
This is what you're seeing here, chat, is the equivalent to yeah, that's happening in real life.
Yeah. That's about that's the fun things with it all. Let's see. If I was to turn that off, I don't know if this will help at all.
Well, we'll find out. So we'll start from the beginning again. Advice for recent graduates.
Don't sweat the small stuff. It's fine. Like, it's gonna be hard to get a job. Everyone goes through it. Some people get in easier than others. It's just timing. And, you know, it's also okay to be nervous. Don't feel like you're being stupid. and asking questions because we've all been there.
Mm-mm.
We've all been there. I still ask like the dumbest things. Just ask the dumb questions.
Yeah, ask the dumb questions. Ask away, because it's better than not asking anything, and they'll be like, why didn't you ask us?
Yeah, exactly. Which is great. It's just reassuring when people are like, no, you're not bothering me at all. Like, ask you a really dumb question. But yeah, just for recent graduates, it might be hard to get a job, and I understand that completely. It's just getting your foot in the door, and once you're in, you're pretty much in.
I had a...
When you're a junior,
Yeah.
you know, just know your worth. Know what your weaknesses are. Know what your strengths are. But also don't burn yourself out, because burnout is really, really hard to deal with.
Burnout is awful. Like I had a amazing senior that I still look up to, and I try not to bother them. I don't think I ever bother them outside of work, only inside work. Their advice to me after my contract for my very first job ran out, and I was sat down and told we won't be extending it because we simply don't need the numbers anymore, is that as hard as it is to get that very first job, it's getting the second job that's the hardest. And don't let that discourage you. At the end of the day, for those who are struggling to even get a first job, for even get looked at, the best advice I can give you is continue to apply yourself. If you got like personal projects, continue to do them. Remember why you are doing these things to begin with. Remember that passion you hold, and understand that while a lot of recruiters don't understand that passion or appreciate it, it doesn't mean you're not worth hiring. At the end of the day, it's all about timing. We are currently in a pandemic. Hiring is going to be very, very difficult. And it's even more so for juniors and recent graduates. Like you and I, Joe, we were pretty lucky to begin with.
Oh, super lucky.
I would recommend, like, for those who are struggling, to even look into the academies that, like, the Industrial Light and Magic are putting out. And, you know, look at their requirements. If there's something you don't understand, I'd say message the recruiter and be like, hey, could you explain this particular requirement a little bit more? And, you know, build a rapport. The most important thing in the visual effects industry, aside from knowing how to do your job, is to be the type of person that people are more than happy to work with. Right? The general rule of thumb, and I'm going to be a bit crass for a moment here, is don't be a dickhead. If you be a dickhead, no one ever wants to work with you, no matter how good you are, because you're insufferable to deal with at that point.
I think it's more of this industry is already so stressful as it is that people just want to try and chill out, and sometimes other people can be a little bit too much.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh, and one thing, and I noticed from a personal case study, don't lie about your capabilities. Don't do that.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
Don't lie about what you can and can't do, because you're wasting everyone's time, and you'll be known, because it's such a small industry, you'll be known as the person who lied.
It's a very, very tiny industry. It's so small. It's actually crazy how small it is.
Oh yeah, it's insanely small. And also, read your contracts and make sure before you relocate, you actually have employment. Don't move and then expect them to accept your application. Don't do that. Sort everything out first and then go. And once you're
Make sure everything's set in stone.
Yeah. Once you're in, just, you know,
enjoy the ride.
Enjoy the ride. You were hired because they were confident you can do the job. And you are confident you can do the job. That's why you applied in the first place. Have confidence in yourself. And that's what, like, be assertive. Because when I say don't be a dickhead, it doesn't mean don't be assertive. be assertive, know your boundaries, get along with everyone. You don't have to get, okay, let me phrase that. You don't have to get along with everyone. You just got to be pleasant enough to work with. I think it's probably the best advice I can give for recent graduates.
Yeah, just be honest, but be honest in a professional manner.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And, yeah, thank you so much for your time, Joe. We've reached the end.
That's alright. Is there any other questions that people want to know that we probably didn't touch on?
Or, like, any clarifications or anything like that. This is the Q&A section. Chat, we hand it over to you. Shoot away. Questions, not bullets. Why do bad things happen to good people? I don't know. Maybe you should watch Dimension 20 again in the first campaign and find out the answer.
Bad things happen to good people.
What's your perfect Sunday?
Perfect Sunday is having naps in the sun. And I honestly just chilling out. It's so good. Not having to think about, professional life for a change.
Yeah, I'm sorry I'm ruining your perfect Sunday right now by having you talk about work.
But, it's also 95% of my life. So,
I'll hand that over to you.
Oh, God. I only have one druid as well. I don't even have multiple druids. But, druids are cool. You can turn into animals. And now owlbears, according to the latest D&D trailer.
Did you see that movie poster?
Awesome. I haven't.
I heard.
I've heard rumors.
I've seen Twitter basically take Pathfinder's illustration of, I believe, the Beholder or the Mind Flayer or whatever, like one of the monsters, and copy pasted it onto the poster. Apparently, Chris Perkins said he would allow it, so it's okay. It's okay. But interesting. The Intellect Devourer. Yeah, the Intellect Devourer is a copy-paste from Pathfinder onto the movie poster. They've changed nothing.
Oh, no, not shocked.
So yeah, the creatures in both games, it's just the art, like the visual representation of the monster.
Yeah, I haven't seen too much. I get weird controversy stuff on my social media. So when people are like, did you hear about this? And I'm like, nope, but I've heard about, the grasshopper down the street on this film. It's so weird.
Someone give Osmond Art a hero point. It is immune to intellectual property law. You get a hero point.
God, this is completely irrelevant, but I recently saw a huge drama thing in a D&D group about intellectual property, and it was just a mess. So that just gives me a bit more of an inside joke to that sort of comment, because I ranted to Chris about it. Oh, jeez. Amazing.
You got music going on in the background?
Me?
Yeah, because it's not me.
If I pause it, can you hear that?
Well, I heard it was some chimes going on. Sounds like a carousel.
I've had music playing in the background for me this whole time, but it's through my headphones. It shouldn't be coming through for you guys. How odd.
How
it
odd.
Continues.
This must be investigated. Roll with advantage.
God's sake. Me with the technical doozies all the time.
Well,
Sounded like it was Pokemon Mystery Dungeon music. So,
ah,
uh,
ah.
you know, it has been going for 2.5 hours.
So, anybody else with like questions? It doesn't have to be what like industry specific if you don't have one, but you know, we're still here for Q&A.
I absolutely agree, Sid Tree. Best Pokemon series.
Fight anyone who says otherwise. Ooh, got your fists out.
meet me in the Pokemon battle arena.
Catch me in there. How about that? Oh, the knives are out.
But yeah, I guess like I hope I provided some insightful information when, it worked.
Oh, yeah. I hope this was useful to those who are interested. If you found it useful, respond I in chat so that I know that I've done this correctly. I've never done Q&As before. And, if you guys really enjoyed this stream, thank you so much. And yeah.
This is I shamelessly plugged this thing super last minute to a lot of people, so
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for that. I'm so appreciative of it.
No, thank you for inviting me to do this. This is something I've kind of always wanted to do, but never really had like the prompts or the reason to do it.
Oh yeah, like I've been wanting to do this for ages, but it's always like whether or not anyone would be interested.
Oh, the eyes. Oh boy. Well, actually, no. Here's a question for you, Pen Pen.
Mm-hmm.
And what's have you watched anything recently that's inspired you to keep going in this industry, or to reach your own goals?
I wouldn't say watch. It's the people around me that inspire me to continue going on. Seeing them work on their shots, it's really motivating. I mean, work is work at the end of the day, but just being around a group of really amazing people all the time. It's just
I will admit, yeah, I never realized people in this industry to be so chill.
Oh yeah.
Pen doesn't watch movies or TV.
Oh, I stopped. I play video games now, and even then, that's
Can I make a suggestion to you then?
Mm-mm.
Do you like How to Train Your Dragon?
I have neither negative or positive opinions about it.
Okay.
But you're gonna recommend the sea creature one, right?
Oh, the Sea Beast. Yes.
Yes, the sea beast.
The Sea Beast. Dragon Prince is also great. I love the Dragon Prince, but Sea Beast currently has my heart and soul. I love that movie so much. It's beautiful.
It is on a list. It's a list backlog of 3 years, but it is on the list. But
well, to be, yeah, Dragon Prince recently got season 4 announcements.
Oh wow, okay.
I think it's I can't remember off the top of my head, but it looks beautiful. But if you don't want to watch a series, watch Sea Beast. It's really, really good.
I will actually watch that soonish because I know that we work in the same office-ish and you're gonna harass me over it, so I'll have to watch it.
I've been harassing a lot of people, particularly people who I know will actually sit down and watch an animated movie.
Yeah.
Because I love animation. I could go on for days about animation and how amazing of an art form it is, and the storytelling because I'm a huge film noob. Yay.
Well, I'll flip this question back onto you. What keeps you going? What keeps inspiring you?
Ooh, what keeps inspiring me? I think it's like, okay, so I'm gonna go on a little bit of a a tangent. Hopefully, I don't cut out. So, my history. I grew up in a little town that was kind of rural, Victoria. So this kind of work wasn't really a thing that people thought they could do, and everybody I knew, they either became a teacher, a hairdresser, or like an accountant or a nurse. And I wanted something different. And I distinctively remember my school deliberately did not put on my visual effects coursework because they didn't believe that I would get into that industry and could have a job in it. And I think that was one of my spiteful realizations where I was like, I'm going to prove you wrong. And I now work for some of like the biggest companies in the world. So it's like, whoa, this is like insane. And they thought I couldn't do it. And this is me coming back to them and being like, look at what I've achieved when you said I couldn't.
They say the best form of revenge is to live well.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess like my inspiration is for like it's me trying to be like, stop trying to enforce that I can't do this when I very well know I can.
Oh yeah, for sure. Don't put
Proved
down
them
children.
completely wrong.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I love talking about my job. I love telling people like, hey, I just finished working on like this project. I'm working on this doll line. I've done this advertisement. So, and it's just refreshing to talk about something different for them, I think, as well. Like, and it's not like I feel like a celebrity or anything. It's just a whole different type of work.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like this, it's an industry that no one outside of our little circle, our niche circle, that really takes much stock. Like I tried explaining my job to my parents. I've tried.
Yeah.
I've now resorted to saying I work in a weird office job where I just sit down and print pretty pictures for movies. It's not exactly what I do.
Yeah.
It's the closest.
It's really hard to explain our job, but it's kind of just like, here's a really cool thing I did, and they'll appreciate it one way or another.
I think the moment when my cousins found out that I touched something on cats, they were just like, so how does it feel working for a movie like Cats? Is there really a butthole cut? And I was like, that's all they talk about now. Release the butthole cut.
Which doesn't actually exist.
It doesn't. I think the buttholes happened as a freak of accident, like a freak accident.
It was. I think people just took it out of context when that sort of gained on the surface, and they're like, "There's a butthole cut," and it's like, "There's really not." But okay.
It's not.
Like, I don't think anyone actually had a job to roto out any buttholes from memory.
Not
Maybe there was.
Maybe.
Not from memory.
Well,
there definitely wasn't in our studio.
No, not from...
Definitely not in our studio.
Not our section, no.
But, you know, and I think, like, seeing my name pop up in a movie in a theater, oh my god. So different.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
People who get up and walk away in the credits, and you don't even realize that this isn't even everybody who worked on the film. It's like, whoa, that's just so many people who you were just like one little person, one grain of sand in this project.
Oh yeah, like it's so nice. Like I have a confession to make. The name that you know me by. is obviously my Chinese name. I do actually have
Yep.
an English name in which I was using up until I entered college.
Yep.
I've only changed to my Chinese name because no one in my family believed that this is something that is, a career-worthy choice to make. So I changed my name. I changed it to my Chinese name to spite them, so that when they watch a movie and the credit scene rolls up, and if they're the type of people that stay behind and look at the credits, they'll see my name. My name is very recognizable in a sense that it's a weirdly spelt name for the most part. They'll see my name, and they'll be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, she worked on it. They worked on it."
I love how the question was, what inspires you to keep going?
Spite.
But it was just us being like, I want to spite people. I want to prove people wrong.
Hey, this is the instances where spite is good. We lived good, happy lives because it started out from spite, and then we realized.
And you know what the best thing about this is that little town. I was approached by some high school colleagues of mine to send in my Cats and Dora work, and apparently the applause that I got at that showcase also inspired people to go to college for animation.
Oh, that's
so
really heartwarming.
That was a really big thing for me to be like, I've just inspired more people from my little hometown that they can do this too.
You know what? You're an icon now.
I guess so.
You've shown the masses that it's possible. You won.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, apparently this person, they told me this one girl notably made an animation in her final year of high school. I think because of that show reel as well, and apparently she didn't even know that she could study animation.
Aww.
Until she saw that reel, and it just sort of changed her whole perspective on it.
Oh, my heart.
So it just felt really good to kind of go back to that little town in a way and be like, look at all the big things I'm doing. And that wasn't even the Rainbow High or the Marvel stuff yet. That was just the other cats and stuff.
Yeah. And you know what? That is a perfect example of be the change you want to see in the world. And it doesn't have to be grand scale things. It could be small stuff like this. You want to see more of a particular thing, be that change, because you never know. And in all honesty, this is a perspective of a colleague that works alongside with you. This is no longer Pen the illustrator talking penguin. This is a co-worker of Joe, basically saying the work you do is legitimately really, really good. And in honesty, seeing the shots that you work on and seeing you just having your shit together, essentially, is also
Don't really.
I know. It's mostly just playing around in the background, hoping that things will go well. But it's one of those things that keeps me going as well, because it's always because there are times where I'm just I'm tired, but I see everyone around me, you included, more particularly you, because we talk to each other a lot, and just be essentially going, but they're putting out good work. I should put out good work as well. So, just keep going. And
I think I'm gonna butt in here real quick.
Yeah, go
so
ahead.
Sorry, but we've worked in I think 3 companies together now because you keep following me.
I can't help it. You're so pretty.
I can't get rid of you. But I think you're one of the best people that I can speak with because you understand where I've come from.
Aww.
And how we've grown together, because we both started at the same square one, and we've both progressed into the company we're at now together, essentially.
Aww.
So it's kind of we've both seen each other grow in the best way possible.
Yeah.
Which is wonderful.
We've seen the best and worst of each other.
And one of my favorite quotes that's come up recently is, when you're going to change the world, don't ask for permission.
Just fucking do it.
Just just do it.
Do
treat,
it.
treat, just take it by the reins and prove people wrong.
Yep.
Like, everyone's deserving to be in this industry in one way or another. And it doesn't matter how long it takes for you to get there. My lord, just do it.
Just do it. You got the chance. And let's say this, going back to the advice portion. Let's just say you are tired of being held back because you couldn't get a job. What's to stop you from starting your own one-man studio and churn out content and showcases that you like to do? Rather than the specifications of what, say, Marvel or Disney wants, what you want. You know?
Yeah.
And while YouTube channels and streaming and all of that, like, is a hit and miss, because you gotta really be on the ball. That's a whole different ballpark. Just do it. What do you have to lose by not? By
Yeah,
doing
exactly.
it? Like, it's the same as, you know, people who apply for really big name companies right out the bat. Just do it. You lose nothing by applying. You lose nothing by doing. You know.
The worst thing they can say is no.
Yeah. The absolute worst thing they can say is no. Unless you
Or
get, like,
not right now.
yeah. Not right now. Eventually. We'll put you down on our list of applicants to contact later. Just, you got this. Take it from us. We've gone through the bender not too long ago. You got this. Well,
This is really nice.
This is really nice, yeah. Yeah, well, that concludes our segment. Once again, Joe, thank you so much for coming on and doing this with me for the very first episode of From the Perspective.
Oh, that's okay. Thanks for having me.
I'll be back on next week with another visual effects artist by the username of Palma de Lava. So tune back in
Ooh.
on the 14th of the 8th, Land Down Under Time. And yeah.
What department is that?
Sorry?
What department is that chatting about?
Character modeling.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hell yeah. So, you know, we'll be going back at it with this. The VODs will be up on Twitch by default. So, I'll post a link on my Twitter, which, you know, my socials are there, but I will put that out again. If you haven't already, give me a follow on Twitter. That's usually where I am the most active. And I'll stream again next week. If you like this particular series, I do it on Sundays. It could be either weekly, fortnightly, or monthly, depending on when I can get people in. And we carry on from there. Once again, thank you so much for popping by. And thank you so much, chat, for coming by and listening. I know some of you came in halfway and don't quite understand. Don't worry, the VOD will be there for the whole 2 hours and whatnot.
Can hear all of my microphone issues for the whole 2 hours.
All of the audio issues, all of the stuff, all of our tangents and rants. And yeah, if you want to be updated when I will be streaming again, Twitch and Twitter. Follow. Give me a follow.
Oh, that's so cute. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. My brother just sent me a photo of my nephew, my oldest nephew, standing in front of a poster of the Thor movie that just came out, and apparently he's like really proud. And I'm like, oh, that's my heart.
Oh, my heart.
It's so cute.
But yeah, thank you so much. It is getting late. It's like, what, 10 o'clock for you now?
It's 10 o'clock here, yep, and we have work in the morning.
We do have work in the morning, so I'll let you get to it. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
And to everybody else, I'll see you next week. Goodbye. Have a good night, morning, arvo, wherever you are. Enjoy your meals. Chill. Until next time. Goodbye.
See ya.